to Nehemiah African Projects. My name is Dr. Rufaro. As you can see, I am driving. I hope to do some videos on the go because we're all strapped for time. So this was just my way to continue to bring information, valuable information and knowledge, particularly for the U.S. African Diaspora, on how to invest in different African countries, pretty much. And so Nehemiah African Projects is all about really just opening people's perspective on investing on the continent and what different countries have to offer. There's a lot of perception out there that, you know, it's risky to invest in Africa, but there's risk in any investment that you do. So the more you are aware, the more you are knowledgeable, you are positioned to be in a more successful investment. So that's regardless of any continent or any country. So today I'm going to talk about, you wear many hats, but is investor one of them? Now, for example, again, I wear many hats. I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a business owner, I'm on my way to a client right now. I like to teach and instruct. I'm very passionate about all things, you know, African investment, the potential future of different African countries. Very intrigued about different cultures. But one thing I've always at least recognized about myself is that I have the gift of knowledge. And so I like to share that knowledge in various platforms and avenues. I speak sometimes. Had the pleasure of speaking at Howard University with a wonderful group of folks in the areas of emerging technologies and blockchain and AI and everything going on. So I like to share knowledge, not only for myself, but obviously for others to win too. So why am I talking about wearing different hats? Because we all wear different hats. But sometimes people don't see themselves as an investor, and that is a very important hat to wear in this day and age. I think now more than ever, it is critically important to see yourself as an investor. Sometimes it can intimidate people. Where do I start? Are you talking about the stock market? Are you talking about real estate? Like, we can simplify it. But the important thing is to start, and why the conversation of Nehemiah African Projects comes into context is because if you are exposed to some of the opportunities that are going on ground, you will realize that yes, there is risk, as there is high risk in anything, but there is also high potential reward. And that risk can be managed. I hope you heard what I said. That risk can be managed because of technology, because of maturing systems. Different countries are developing at rapid paces in Africa. Risk can be managed, not eliminated, but managed. And so that then shows that yes, you can invest in traditional investment vehicles, the stock market, your 401k at your job. I'm not saying to stop any of that. I'm just saying to consider additional investment opportunities, particularly on the continent of Africa. For example, we'll take real estate. Real estate is really appreciating. It's really growing in various African countries. whether some just buy land and they do what's called land banking. Others are buying land to farm. More than ever, more people are going into farming because they realize that this is quite lucrative. People always need to eat, no matter where you're from. No matter if you're from the Caribbean, from an African country, if you're African American, and people are like, well, how do I do that? I'm here and they're there, and there's so many risks. Well, that's where the power of networking and getting knowledge really comes into play, where Nehemiah African Projects comes into play. You can invest passively in some things with curated opportunities where we've vetted certain business developers that are doing great things, and then they manage for you and you get your return. And you can come and visit as well and see for yourself. I do encourage that. But not everybody's able to travel, and we understand that. So passive, we have hybrid investor. So passive is, hey, I just want to invest just like I do in the stock market. I don't want to talk to anybody, and you see your return. That's passive. You invest remotely. Then you have hybrid, where you're also investing remotely. However, at some point you might book a trip to go visit. You have some time, some vacation. You got 2 weeks vacation, 3 weeks vacation, and you say, you know what, I actually want to go see this in person, either before I invest or after I've invested, just to check up on it. And that's completely fine. All transparency, me and my husband are hybrid investors, and so we hope to visit in the future with different things that we got going on. But that didn't stop us from seeing the opportunities and capitalizing today, wearing that investor hat today. Even here in the US, when you invest, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in the stock market, the US tax code rewards investors. It's just that people don't think about it that way, but it does. It rewards investment behavior, and I've repeated this before. I will continue to say it. The U.S. tax code rewards investment behavior because they want you to invest, here in the U.S. That doesn't mean you cannot invest, in an African country, or even if you wanted to invest in Asia or Europe or anything like that. For the purposes of this channel, we're focused on African countries and what the different opportunities going on there. So again, you could be a passive investor. Risk can be managed. You don't have to travel if you don't want to. You could be a hybrid investor, invest in passive investment and invest in a couple other investments that you would like to see for yourself, particularly if it's anything like farmland, land for future real estate development, or just real estate itself. There's so many real estate developers that have proven to deliver. I know there's a lot of risk out there, and I never recommend that you go with a developer who has not delivered anything in the past. You want to do your own due diligence, and remember that this channel is for educational purposes. By all means, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, so full disclosure in the description below as well. But when it comes to real estate, again, you could be a hybrid investor, and it's a great way that if you ever are just interested in different African countries anyway, you invest, you go visit and see for yourself, and you'll realize that there are so many problems, which means there are so many opportunities for solutions. People need housing wherever you live. People need food, hence the farmland that I was mentioning. And so you don't even have to crack your head on anything. Oh, I'm going to come up with the most innovative business or anything to invest. Simple problems, simple solutions. However, the bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the solution you offer, the bigger reward that you get. Remember, I talked about investment is all about risk and reward. So the risk can be managed and the rewards are great. So you can be a passive investor, you can be what we consider hybrid, that's what me and my husband are, or you could be what we consider intentions of full relocation. And we've met some people that, like I mentioned in a couple of my other videos, by 2026 they're moving to South Africa. Some are moving to other countries, and there's so much potential. Most people know South Africa, Nigeria, which they're both doing great things, but there are a lot of other countries that are developing very quickly and that have heavily invested in trying to create an environment that's conducive for foreign investors, for anybody really who would like to invest in their country. And so there's ways to do this. Of course, it also just depends on your interest. You never want to invest in things that you don't know. You always want to educate yourself. So you could be a passive investor and work your way all the way up to relocation. And that could be part of your retirement plan. And so that's completely doable depending on the African country that you're looking at. But you do want to do your research. You do want to really shift your lens to become an investor. Now more than ever, is more important to invest. And obviously with investment, you want to diversify. So, you want to diversify in the things that you invest in where you live. And then also when looking at different African countries, real estate is always great. And when I say real estate, it includes all real assets. So land, farmland, things of that nature. And of course, residential and even commercial. But there's so much potential there. And the great thing about real estate developers, most of them in Africa, is that most don't really deal with the mortgage system that we are used to here in the U.S. So you can have anywhere from a property where they'll say, hey, we just require you to put a 10% deposit, and then they spread the payments over a long period of time, maybe 18 months, maybe 12 months, and you make monthly payments, and there's no interest. So by the end of, let's say, an 18-month payment plan, you can have a fully paid off property, and you don't have a mortgage on it. And that property can then be turned into a further profit center, and you can use it for Airbnb. When you visit that country, you could stay in it. It continues to appreciate. If you ever just want to sell in the future, you can do that as well. So there's so many things. We'll have more videos about specific investments that are out there. But again, this channel is all about educating folks, sharing knowledge that there's a lot of opportunity out there, and you'll be very surprised with the returns that are possible. Again, there's always risk. I'm not going to be out here telling people that there's no risk, but what I will educate you on is that risk can be managed. And so to take action today, you look at your situation and you see what you can put away, and let your money work for you. Anything that's real assets is always a great place to start, but that doesn't mean that you can't invest in African stocks, so we'll talk about all those things in future videos for specific investment types. But again, this video is just all about, hey, we wear so many different hats here, but is investor one of them? So I want you to ask yourself that question, because even here in the US with the market, and there's so many things going on with the real estate market, stock market, but still people are still earning, despite maybe inflationary concerns, despite the tariffs. There's people still earning. So and I'm always a believer in buy and hold investments here in the US. I never like to time the market. That doesn't mean that you can't go into that as a day trade or anything like that. It's just my own preference is to buy and hold and diversify, so that in the long term your investments appreciate, and hopefully you're also investing in dividend stocks or things of that nature. So again, just wanted to encourage you that put the investor hat on, because there's a lot of opportunity out there, and we're excited to share more information. So again, you can see that I'm driving. I'm going to have a couple more of these because we're all strapped for time. Everybody understands the hustle, so full transparency here. Again, this is Dr. Rufaro. Thank you for watching Nehemiah African Projects. We got more to come. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, and we'll bring you more knowledge. Thank you.